new segment time. While he's gone, I'm gonna pull up the next segment. I guess we're already here, aren't we? It's in playlists. Let's see here. Psychology and sociology. Days. Dr. Sheep philosophy. And it was what makes us human. Do opinions matter? Color. It was the third Dr. Sheep philosophy. What makes us human? You know, some of these videos have done pretty well, actually. Some of these philosophy videos.
Really?
Yeah, ever since I stopped doing them. But maybe we'll start back up this fall. I don't know. They never got very good views, so I was never sure if I wanted to.
Oh wait, what are all the ones you made? True love.
That's the last one.
Happiness, color, opinions. Scroll up.
I don't remember.
Should you swear?
Yeah, that was a
pilot. What was the pilot?
I don't remember. Let's watch this. Okay. So what? Okay, what quote?
There, YouTubers.
Are we gonna watch this? Wait, is this going into the podcast?
We're still recording. We're in it right now.
This is like 16 minutes.
We're not gonna watch the whole
there,
thing.
Dr. Sheep here. Welcome
Wow,
back to
look
another
at the good old
video.
days.
Now, before you click off, you gotta answer the question for next video. That question is it human nature to want to share information about yourself?
Okay. So what was the thing? What was the question? Okay? You had a question about something I said.
Yeah. Oh. So it's your comments on.
Oh.
No. So people. So the main comments on what makes us human, which is from the last video.
Right.
That you asked people to comment on. People actually. Wait, I wrote it down.
No, they're right here.
What?
They're right here.
No. But the last video. The video before this was comments about this question.
Oh, right. Oh, so we need to click on should you swear. Okay.
And so they mentioned emotions and language.
Right.
And then you said, no, I don't really believe those are what make us human. You said what makes us human was solely our ability to ask questions or our curiosity. You said other animals can be curious about certain things, like, oh, I wonder what's over there.
Other animals can have emotions.
Yeah. Other animals can be like, I'm going to go over there, oh, what's behind this bush or whatever. Maybe there's some food or whatever. But then the idea of, like, they don't question their thoughts or whatever. They don't question why they're curious or whatever. You said that specifically is what makes them human, or is what makes us human. Because other animals don't have this ability, this theory of mind is what they call it or whatever. Well, no, I guess that's not even theory of mind. Theory of mind is when you're curious about other people's opinions. For example, like, it's something that doesn't develop in a child until they're like 4 or 5 or whatever. Because I think it's like the Anne test or whatever. How, like, because I guess one of the child is named Anne or whatever in the story, and they ask the child, well, how did Anne feel? And they don't know. They don't know how to answer it because they don't know how to put themselves in other people's shoes to see from other people's perspective, and they're not curious about what other people would think because they're only concerned about themselves.
That's weird.
It's called theory of mind.
That's the thing, though. You could think back to a time like that. I don't remember any. I don't remember ever thinking like that or like,
That's why it's so hard, That's why it's hard, to not get mad at a child. Like, you can't really get mad at a child when they're younger than 4 or 5 because they don't really understand why you're mad. Like, they get that, like, they know you're upset because of your facial expressions.
Mm-hmm. And yelling.
Yes. And so they know that what they're doing is wrong. But they can't yet see from your perspective why what they're doing is wrong. And so they don't truly understand that.
So you just tell them it's wrong.
It's wrong. Yeah. Yeah. But, And so that was one of the points that you brought up, though, is since other animals don't have this theory, don't have a theory of mind, and they don't ask us questions, like for example chimpanzees. That's not what makes us human. And so I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, we should almost rephrase the question to be not what makes us human, but what makes us so much different than our primitive ancestors, and that why is it that...
what makes us human? I put that because that was a good
What makes us human?
Clicky title.
Yeah. And so, but I think what the question is really asking, how I viewed it as what traits, what physical traits are so different about us that no other animals, can compare.
Bipedalism.
Yeah, bipedalism was number one. That is what I came up with as my number one thing. As what makes us so different that no other animal can compete with us in terms of mastering their environment. Because other animals just seem to, compete for survival. They eat, sleep, and die. That's basically
Sleep, reproduce, and die.
Eat, sleep, reproduce, and die. That's all there is to their life. Whereas, humans, we have a natural desire to want to be curious, like you said. But I wanted to go deeper into that and what about us is different that we have that curiosity. Like, for example, our primitive ancestors before us, that were in caves or whatever, obviously we're still they're still considered anatomically modern humans. Mm-hmm. And so if you go further than that to Luca is what they called it, the last common ancestor between chimps and humans or something like that. Some acronym or whatever. And it's what specifically about them is different. And the answer is bipedalism. Bipedalism is the reason why they became so much different, because it freed up their hands for survival. It allowed them to be more mobile, because see, what was also happening around this time period, around 7 million years ago, was the savanna started to dry out in certain areas. Mm-hmm. And so it was no longer this, this beautiful greeny grass rainforest. Forest, yeah, it was almost like a forest too. And so some of the chimps decided to stay in the trees and continue to move onward. And then with the trees as they moved out. And then others decided to just move out into the open plains. Either because they got trapped there, because trees were moving out around them, and so they just got stuck in the open land, or for whatever reason. But nonetheless, those chimps that were put in that position, because of bipedalism, it allowed them supposedly to form language. Because when this happened, they needed a way to communicate with others about their new surroundings or whatever. And so they needed words to describe where to go. They needed to deviate tasks or whatever.
Yeah, but language didn't develop until a long time later, didn't it?
Well, they had language as we know it. Because, see, what started to happen is the larynx would descend in our throats to allow us to make more deep and complex sounds. Because there's only so many sounds that you can possibly make with your mouth. But
humans have probably some of the most wide variety.
But it's because of our larynx, which allowed us to make more complex sounds.
That's why Jim goes, "Wah!" And I'm like, oh, yeah.
Anyways,
that sounded like a trip.
But anyways, but you were kind of saying that language was not one of those things that makes us human. But I kind of argue that it is. There's so many different languages on this planet, and I mean, other animals do have a sense of language. But I think it's, our ability to make our language is physiologically different.
Right.
And also, there was another comment. You said, brain size. You said, so we actually are not the largest brain to body weight ratio species.
I thought we were. You always told me we were.
No, I didn't. Dolphins are. In terms of mammals, dolphins are.
Oh.
Dolphins have us beat. And then actually,
Freaking dolphins.
but see what you might have thought about it or whatever, because you also mentioned how, tiny insects and rats or whatever, they're puny brains.
Rats are very smart.
The thing about it is that because they're so small, their body weight ratio makes their brain size just jump through the roof. They have extremely large brain to body weight ratios because they're practically massless. I mean, not really, but you get my point. And so,
You always told me though.
I don't think I did. If I did, I must have misspoken. Because I've known for a long time that dolphins were number one.
Well, you probably told me this a long time ago.
Well, when you made this video, you didn't fact check it.
Because it was coming from you. I should expect you to be fact checked already.
What? I don't even know when I would have said this because I've known for a long time that dolphins had us beat in terms of brain to. Maybe you just remembered me wrong or something.
I don't remember. I don't even remember making these videos anymore.
Yeah.
That's like, some YouTubers remember making their videos. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't remember them at all.
Yeah. But no, I was watching this. I was like, what makes us human? And I was like, that's interesting. And then I was like, because I was also thinking about, Vsauce's video that he made too.
About the cognitive...
trade-off hypothesis.
Yeah. It's always a fun one. Yeah, I mean...
So, the top things that make us different are definitely bipedalism, our brain, which allows for language. Because actually, supposedly, the part that allows for language supersedes the part that allows for in-depth memory, which is why chimps supposedly have a higher short-term memory. We sacrifice...
Well, it's our prefrontal cortex.
No, language is
Well, I know it's not in the prefrontal cortex, but our prefrontal cortex is huge compared to other animals.
Yeah, no, but no. The part of the brain that controls language is so large that the part that controls memory cannot get as large. So they're saying that our language is what's holding back our memory, which is why we have a longer long-term memory, but our shorter short-term memory cannot compare to chimps, which seem to remember everything like that.
Just remember, one of these days we're going to install micro SD cards into the back of our heads.
Oh, yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that upgrade to come. Where I can just plug 2 terabytes into my head. Cool.
I think the brain is larger than that. What if that's just 1%?
No, but think about it though. It's 2 terabytes, but it's high speed storage. So
how high speed is the brain though? What if that's low speed compared to the brain? What if that's having dial up?
Don't you remember how slow electronic signals go?
268 miles an hour.
Yeah. Do you realize how much faster it is to upload these into a micro SD card?
I don't know. There's no wires in the brain. How are you gonna
Neuralink.
Neurally?
Neuralink. That's one of Elon Musk's companies.
So they make...
They're putting wires into the human brain so we can control things with our mind.
What?
And hook into systems with it. It's going to be cool.
I see. But what about the blood-brain barrier? How does it interfere with that in any way?
I don't ask these questions.
I
just accept
that is an important thing that we should ask.
Well, they've been putting freaking crap in our brains forever. Since the 90s.
Yeah, but I feel like it opens room for infection.
Penicillin.
Last thing you need is
penicillin.
Rona infecting the brain.
Hydroxychloroquine. Does not work, kids. Hydroxychloroquine does not work to cure the Rona, alright?
We'll try it on DIY.
Shoot.
Yes! No, alright. So our DIY vaccine video, our test subject will be Will.
Oh my god, we're going to inject him with hydroxychloroquine. The side effects are so awful of hydroxychloroquine.
They can't be worse than death.
Rona won't kill him, though.
It could.
It.
He has a 1% chance. That's huge. That's more than zero, my friend.
Oh my gosh. So it's like only 0.3% chance. Still not zero though, right? Like on the meme, it's this picture of these sheep at night, and their eyes are reflecting all the light, you know? And so their eyes are lit up. And it's like, your chances of being killed by a sheep are never zero. Are low, but never zero. And it's just these demonic looking sheep.
Oh
and I'm like, nice.
Oh, did you watch PewDiePie's new video?
Which one?
About liquor tasting? Mm-hmm. I thought that was kind of funny. He smelled them and was like, oh, yes.
He straight up forgot what he smelled and was like, oh, this is the good one. And that's the
€20 one.
To be fair, though, that company had never made whiskey before. That was their first whiskey. So it's like, can you really expect it to be good?
I don't know.
Oh, no, to be
well,
fair.
he smelled it and he was like, yes, this is definitely the good stuff. But then he said the other one had a better aftertaste.
It had a better taste in general.
Yeah.
Didn't smell as good, but tasted better.
But it had a smoother aftertaste or something like that.
Yeah. But I mean, it was that company's like first whiskey, so you know.
Yeah.
That's the thing about whiskey company. You ever think about that? If you're aging your whiskey, you know, for like those extended period of life, you're not gonna have a product for years.
Yeah, it's like 23 years.
And you don't know if that product's gonna be any good.
Yeah.
You know, you threw it together and just like, well, we'll see what happens.
100-year-old whiskey, still in the making.
Yeah. I don't think there's any aged, 100-year aged whiskey.
I mean, they would have had to start 100 years ago.
So it's funny. American whiskey actually uses barrels for you actually uses Scotch barrels.
Yeah.
So like, Scotch is made in those barrels, and then American whiskey uses those barrels, which I thought was interesting. Anyways, back to the philosophy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think you have a point there. Yeah, the top things that make us human. I mean, language is on there, I guess. I never, said it just straight. I guess maybe I did say it was
You
straight
did
up
kind of
wasn't.
say, you did. That's the thing that kind of got to me. You said language was not one of them.
But maybe
Sure.
I was just going for
and
that
then it was
number
kind of
one.
the idea that you said that solely curiosity or whatever. 'Cause I was like, other animals are definitely curious, though. I mean, that's the whole reason why animals do anything.
Right.
They are curious. I mean, obviously they're curious for different reasons. I mean, obviously we were curious like that for the longest time. I mean, even before we were human, you know, and we saw flames or whatever. I mean, I don't know if those were modern humans or whatever, but they were still curious about it, and they bothered to throw meat in there.
I thought the Neanderthals had fire too, didn't they?
Well, they controlled fire. They're able to make fire. But as far as just being curious about it and just throwing meat in there and be like, oh, this tastes better.
Well, they never cooked meat, the Neanderthals?
What? No, they were able to make their own fire. Before there was fire, they would rely on lightning or whatever to make their fire.
Right. I know that.
I'm saying Neanderthals mastered fire. They had controlled fire. What's your question?
Well, did they cook meat with it?
Yeah, what else would you use fire for?
Well, you made it sound warmth. The main reason was the Ice Age.
No. Neanderthals also lived down south, like in the African savannah too.
Also, it gets cold at night in the desert.
Yeah, but you also have to remember they didn't have clothing though. They made clothing. They made clothing too.
Let me tell you this: it gets real warm. It gets without clothing, it gets cold.
Yeah, I don't know. They definitely used it to cook food. I don't know if they were the first.
Well, you just made it sound like when you first started talking, they weren't cooking food.
I don't know.
Like if you play it back, it sounded like you were.
Yes, I know what I said. Yes, I know what it made it like I said. Yes.
That's why I was like, they didn't cook food, but you just said they
Maybe
did.
I don't know. I don't know the whole timeline, but my point is that I'm trying to make though.
Right. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
Is that other animals were still curious about different things. I know for a fact chimps use tools.
Right.
I know for a fact that they
tools don't make us human.
What?
That's why tools don't make us human.
Yes, but they're a way of thinking though.
Right. Did the Neanderthals? Did they have language of any sorts?
I'm sure they had a way of communicating. Chimps have a way of communicating. Dolphins can communicate.
Right.
All animals have a way of communicating. Wolves can communicate.
Ooh, wolf. You imagine a dog just going woof.
I mean, obviously, wolves, they hunt in packs, There has to be some sort of communication that goes on.
I suppose. Again, that's why language and I guess
Because
language makes us human, but communication does not. I think that's where I was getting. I think I was just cramming those two together and calling it the same thing.
Yeah. We have language. I'd say we have language because we are human, though.
So it doesn't make it.
I'd say, I think we were human before we had language. I think the defining factors for human would be definitely bipedalism.
Well, number one isn't bipedalism.
What?
The cognitive trait.
That came from bipedalism. That came because we left the trees.
Right, but I mean, there were true, but there are species that had bipedalism before humans.
Not like us though. Like chimps can walk upright, but not for a long period of time.
Neanderthals walked upright.
They're still considered human though.
Really?
It's a debatable issue that still goes on, and so because supposedly if there are two different species, their offspring cannot reproduce.
But
like
humans,
a mule, for example,
yes.
mule, and so that's one of the characteristics. But because we have Neanderthal DNA in us, it questions whether or not they should even be considered a different species.
So humans have been around longer than
Yes.
40,000 years.
I would definitely say humans migrated out of Africa. It'd be like saying what migrated out of Africa was not humans. We became humans after that. Because another point of view that people like to look at it is that humans originated, not out of, we originated out of Africa, but the Homo sapiens that we know today killed off all the other species of humans. And we took some of their DNA because we were still close enough links to still reproduce, so we took some of their DNA, but we killed off all the other species of humans.
Hey, you guys are not chats.
Yeah. So like Homo erectus and all them, they all died because we were overpopulated in the area.
I didn't know it was because of overpopulation. I thought it was because they were just too big.
That's a theory though.
Oh, I guess humans did kill off all the megafauna. I forgot about that. The number one reason megafauna went extinct was humans.
Yeah.
Isn't it one of the main reasons?
I don't know.
Other than climate change, humans killed off most of the megafauna. At least, no, that's why they went extinct in North America. Humans kill off the megafauna in North America. I think in East Asia and stuff.
Are you talking about the mammoths and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dodos, I know for a fact, exclusively went extinct because of humans.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure mammoths were a part of that, or definitely because of humans. Let's see. So, other than bipedalism, another theory is that our brains were changing though, because of fire. So fire allowed us to eat more protein.
Right.
And that protein went to fuel our bodies. So we got bigger and stronger. But supposedly some of it also went to our brains, which gave us more brain power.
That's why my mother always told me to eat protein before a test.
Yeah. And so, I guess in that regard, so bipedalism, we could also, another thing that makes us human would be
well, no, humans were physically smaller than the other forms of
I mean, not all of them.
Well, like we were smaller than.
We were smaller than Neanderthals. But see, I also heard something. So like Neanderthals had a bigger brain than ours. But I also heard something that maybe ours was more efficient or whatever because we had started developing the prefrontal cortex. Because abstract painting, but I guess Neanderthals had that too. I don't know. We just don't know a lot because none of them are alive today.
Time machine, guys. Get us 10 million subscribers, and we'll build a time machine.
DIY time machine.
Just buy a DeLorean and just get it up to 88 miles per hour, which is really difficult to do in a DeLorean. Get it up to 88 miles per hour. Where are we? Not just run into a freaking wall. It just dies. Hey, it wakes up. Where am I? You're in the future. Yes, you've been in a coma for 10 years. Oh, crap.
So comment down below what our next music video should be.
Music.
Yeah, our next music video, as well as what our next DIY video should be.
Oh god. All right. Anything else to say about humans and Neanderthals?
I feel like we should have a third one. Two is a weird number. We need to have 3.
You're saying that our what makes us different? Lack of hair.
Lack of hair.
Because Neanderthals have more hair than modern humans.
Yeah, I feel like that's like an adaptation to the environment, though.
True.
Which could be attributed to migration, which could be attributed to bipedalism.
Yeah. Maybe different skin colors. Because Neanderthals didn't evolve different skin colors. Humans did. There's nothing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Neanderthals did. Maybe there were black Neanderthals and white Neanderthals. Interesting question.
So, what about? I do know that. So other chimps have opposable thumbs or whatever, but supposedly like our hands are just structured differently. To allow better precision than that. We could throw thumbs in there.
Well, I mean, the Native Americans always said our hands are one of the gifts from the gods.
So bipedalism, hands, and then mastering fire, which could be attributed to better diets and then more brain power, which could be attributed to abstract thinking and language.
Gave us. It's all planned to give us geniuses.
And
Big
see
brains.
the savannah, but I guess this is how I throw maybe a god into the equation because we got bipedalism because of the savannah spreading out, and fire from the lightning, and then hands were just from just tools or whatever, just from our environment or whatever. Well, maybe there was a creator that kind of forced this all to happen. So like when God created the earth or whatever, but He's still with us all today.
No, though. Scientists have proved why this environment changed in the savannah.
It was because like there were periods of rain and dryness or whatever. But why does it never go back though? Can it never reverse its effect?
It's a little hard to do it when we're currently forcing in that direction. Maybe it would have, but it's kind of hard to know now.
Yeah.
It's only been several thousand years.
Millions, 7 million
Oh
years.
yeah, right.
7 million.
But I mean, humans have only been around for several thousand years.
Well, it depends on what period you're talking. It's like I think Homo sapiens or whatever. It was like 50,000 years ago, but anatomically modern humans was like 800,000 years ago.
Still in the thousands.
I said, whatever.
Still in the thousands. It's not millions.
And then I think Lucy, the Australopithecus afarensis or whatever, was like 4.2 million.
Wow.
She was kind of bipedal. Kind of, I think. I don't know if she was fully bipedal, but they're nearing that. Wait, but see, that would be before... See, that brings up another issue. Do you consider humans solely Homo sapiens?
What do you mean?
So, obviously, Adam and Eve were the first humans. So this is another problem I kind of have. So Adam and Eve we consider to be the first two humans ever. Okay, fine. Maybe they're the first two Homo sapiens or whatever. You know, the first people you want to call humans. Because if you want to call, you know, Homo erectus or whatever, or say, you know, maybe the first, you know, hominids or whatever, human, because they have a different species or maybe a different genus name in that regards, they could be thought of as a lesser human. But I don't think it's right to think of Adam and Eve as a lesser human biologically.
Well,
So I would have to consider Adam and Eve to be a Homo sapien. But I'm pretty sure Lucy, who is not the same genus and all that, was bipedal.
she was kind of bipedal. Remember she had
That's
that
true.
weird thumb thing.
That's true. So things are still starting to perfect themselves. So when we're fully perfected to our modern form, that's when we could call
Well,
it.
and also remember, Adam and Eve made clothing. So the first
It's true.
humans that made clothing. There you go.
All right.
Question answer, because I mean,
So
they
what
were
makes us
naked. They were naked, and then they took the fruit, made clothing, and
Alright,
God
yes.
was like, "The
So
heck is this?"
that's the answer. So what makes us human is clothing. That's the answer. If anyone ever asks you, what makes us human, the answer is clothing.
See,
Because
threads.
Adam and Eve, we consider to be the first two humans. In other words, the first real humans that were not lesser in any biological sense to us, they created clothing. So what makes us human is
According
clothing.
to the Bible.
But we have to find a way to make them all, you know, interconnect.
Anyways, I'd like to thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Get us to 200 subscribers, please. New videos and new podcasts every other Friday, noon, Central Time. And good night.